Texas Farm Bureau Insurance wants to give you a VIP Aggie basketball fan experience this year. Go to 12thman.com/maroon contest and register. One winner and a guest will receive game tickets, hotel accommodations, autographed memorabilia, and more. Register today at 12thman.com/maroon contest. It's all courtesy of Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, proud partner of Texas A&M Athletics. That's what we do for basketball. For football, it's the 12th fan trip, and last we heard they made it to Auburn, and we think they made it back from Auburn earlier this month on that 12th fan trip. Thank you, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance. Aggies are back home after spending Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in Myrtle Beach at the Myrtle Beach Invitational. It began on Thursday night, Murray State with the 88-79 win over Texas A&M, followed by Colorado's 103-75 win over the Aggies. And then on Sunday, Texas A&M with the 67-51 win over Loyola. In that one, the Aggies put 3 in double figures as Henry Coleman III, 13 points, 5 rebounds as well. He and Wade Taylor came off the bench in that one. Julius Marble, who started the game, had 11 points as well as 5 rebounds and 10 points for Wade Taylor IV as the Aggies got that win to move to 3-2 on the season. And this week, they are back on the road. It will be a Black Friday matchup at high noon. The Aggies will be in Chicago taking on DePaul on Friday. They are not back home until 2 Wednesdays. SMU will be at Reed Arena. We will talk about this Myrtle Beach Invitational. We will preview DePaul. We will talk about a couple other things that Coach was able to talk with Dr. John Thornton after Sunday's game. I love the basketball football analogies or similarities that Buzz has with his team. We'll talk about a couple of those things. We have questions. Steve is in. Ian's is one that I kept from week number 1. I still have that one, those questions. And if you're on the Texas A&M basketball Facebook page, joining us behind the mic, you can always check in and ask a question that way. The coach joins us next. It's the Buzz Williams Show. We're here at Rudy's, 504 Harvey Road, here in College Station. Stay with us. This is Aggie basketball from Learfield. Not everyone is a morning person yet, but with Costa Vita's new breakfast tacos, everyone will be. Try our bacon, egg, and cheese, or specialties like the machaca beef and egg, or sweet pork, egg, and cheese. Stop by our drive-thru any day from 7 to 10:30 a.m. You can order online through the Costa Vita app or the website. You can become a morning person at Costa Vita. This is the Buzz Williams Show, and we are at Rudy's, 504 Harvey Road, here in College Station, the home of the Buzz Williams Show. In Buzz's mind, this is like show number 4 because we've done 2 basketball luncheons, but I don't have the heart to tell him it's only number 2, but we'll just see how that goes from here on out. Good to see you, Coach. How are you? Howdy.
I timed it up pretty good. I went and saw Big Fred.
Did you?
Yeah, we just moved Big Fred to an assisted living place, and I haven't seen him.
So you got a chance to see him?
Yeah,
good.
He's doing good.
Outstanding. He
has been good.
He has been a part of your team's plural.
Yeah, my whole life.
Friend. Yeah.
I met him when I was 20. He's 77 now, and he was on the plane with me when I took the job here through COVID and all the stuff, and we found a place for him.
Good.
Kind of cool.
Good. Surround yourself with people. We talked about this in the last show. The relationships. It's not just recruits, right? It's not just for 4 years. It's not just like I love to ask coaches this. Years down the line, players that you coached, you could have been an assistant. It could have been at New Orleans. When they call you coach, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I just hope that I impacted their life in a positive way. You know, that's the thing that I told our guys last night after the game. You know, I think and arguably the only talent that I have is that I care a lot. And sometimes that's real good, and then sometimes that's a curse. Because when you care a lot, sometimes it prevents you from doing what you know needs to be done. And we got hit in the mouth on Thursday. It didn't knock us out, but it staggered us. I didn't ever think that we fought back the way that we should. I didn't think it was terrible, but I didn't think it was the fight that we have to be about and want to be about. We got back to the hotel at whatever time it was, 8 o'clock East Coast time. We stayed like 45 minutes from the gym. Well, the next game's at noon. You lost. And I gave too much grace. I thought we would respond. You got to hurry up and get to the next thing.
Yeah.
And we didn't respond. We didn't respond at all. We were soft. We were entitled. We couldn't believe that somebody would play that hard against us. And that's the fault of the leader. That's not the fault of the children. And that was immature on my part. We handled Saturday a lot better. Full work day in every sense of the word. From before the sun came up until after. Everybody was involved. It wasn't just me. It was all the players. It was all the people that the only time you ever read about them is if you get a copy of the media guide. And I think that last night we were much better at least taking a step in the direction that we want to be. And like I told them after the game, Texas A&M spent a lot of money for us to fly on a plane there, stay in a fancy hotel that looked out at the water for 5 days, eat every meal in the hotel with people cooking omelets and treating you like you're something maybe that you shouldn't be. And if it took that amount of money for us to learn the lesson, then maybe it will be worth it, as long as we use that lesson in the right way, and not just on game day, but every day leading up to game day and every day in between game days. We function in the way that we know that we have to function in order to have a chance. And so I'm embarrassed by my leadership, very disappointed in the competitive character of our program. That's not on a player, that's on me. And I did a really poor job with our staff and a really poor job with our players to think that what we had done would be enough to show up and just win. And that is not to discredit Murray State. That's not to discredit Colorado. That's not to use adjectives to make it sound as though we are better than anybody. But part of what we did towards the end of last year was we had an edge in how we tried. And I think that there was some subliminal thoughts of that would carry over, and it didn't carry over. What carried over was people thought we were that, and that led to a lot of posts on Twitter and media saying we were good. And we did not handle being hunted in the right way. And so that's good. But at 50 years old, I should be better than that. I have more wisdom, have been through more things, have more experience through 500 games as a head coach to understand that. And so I apologize. I don't apologize that we lost. We're not going to win every game. And I will be accountable if they fire me, if I stay, if I don't stay. I don't get into all of that. What I want to be accountable for is the relationships. The relationships built on true love. True love means that there is no agenda. I don't have an agenda. I hope Ford scores 1 billion points. I hope Henry is the next Barack Obama. I hope Julius Marble plays 50 years in the NBA. I hope they all make $1 billion. There is not an agenda based on how good of a basketball player they are. But I failed my commitment to their parents in holding them accountable to do what it is that we know you have to do as a human being, as a future husband, as a future father, as a future leader, to show up and answer the bell every day. And we didn't answer the bell. And for 40 minutes against Colorado, I never sat down because I wanted to make sure that everybody saw that I didn't stop and that I would take the bullets. And I'll continue to take the bullets. I see a lot of coaches that blame things on children. Now, I want to take the blame, and I'll give the credit where the credit is deserved. But we have to do better, regardless of where we play, regardless of when we play, and regardless of who we play, and regardless of the outcome. It's not that we lost. It's how we lost. And I was raised better than that. And I was raised in this business better than that. And so I'll do better.
I have a couple things I want to ask you when we come back after this break. A couple things you talked about with Dr. John Thornton after the win yesterday.
He was just being nice to me. He knows what's going on. He's just such a good human being that when somebody's getting crucified, that's probably the wrong word to use, but when somebody's getting grilled or beat up, he tries to give too much grace. So he's too nice to me, and you are too. And Travis Brown is as well. So I know what it is, and real people know what it is, and we'll do better.
You got it. He is Buzz Williams, head coach of the Fighting Texas Aggies, and this is the Buzz Williams Show. We'll continue from Rudy's. Stay with us. This is Aggie basketball from Learfield. The Buzz Williams Show rolls on from Rudy's. And behind the mic, checking in, Jeff from Belton. And Kirsten is checking in, and she says that she was at the tournament. She is still sitting in an airport getting back. Proud of the response on Sunday. This team and program is worth supporting. Jeff, Kirsten, thank you very much.
They're both still at the airport?
Kirsten is. Jeff's in Belton, so he's home. She was on her way back.
I'm sorry. Man, that's brutal.
Yeah, that's hard.
We got to the airport at about 7:30, 8 o'clock East Coast time, and it was a 2-hour flight there. And, you know, Corey self-medicates to get on a plane, so there's a lot of drama whether there's a game or not. And her drama is more important than the drama that the game presents. And she expects me to have more energy with her drama than the drama that the game presents. So traveling is unique. And I was thinking, as I was taking a shower, because I'd sweated through everything, I was telling my sons, I asked Mason, I said, Mason, what time is it? He said, whatever time it was. Okay. I said, okay, well, we're about 30 minutes from the airport. It'll take 30 minutes to get on the plane. It'll take 30 minutes to get in the air. It's a 2-hour flight. It'll take us 30 minutes to unload the plane, get back to the office, 30 minutes to get back home, 30 minutes to get to my bed. So I was playing out the rest of the evening, and I hadn't slept since Friday when we got beat. Ooh. And hadn't eaten very much, which is why I'm eating whatever Corey just got me here. And then when I got on the plane, Luke handles all of our travel, and there's this guy that, like, acts like we're important that travels with us, that works for the plane people.
Yeah.
So he sits next to me, and, like, you know, nobody ever wants to talk to the head coach. And so I sit down. Corey's halfway medicated by now, and he goes, hey, Coach, it's a 3-hour flight. What? It was two to get here. Sorry, Coach, it's the tailwind or headwind.
Headwinds. Yeah, you had the tailwinds going there.
I'm like, oh, boy.
That was add one more hour to whatever.
Yeah, which thought. It doesn't matter. I don't sleep on night of the game anyway. But
you don't sleep. Okay, here's the football. You always have football analogies. You've got your coaches are set up like coaches. Someone has offense, defense, special teams, things like that. You talked about the middle 8 minutes, the final 4 minutes of the first half, and the first 4 minutes of the second half being important. Earlier, Buzz, you had told us about you like the time just before a timeout. You think that's also important, all the media timeouts. But why so important, the final 4 minutes of a half and the first 4 minutes of the second half, the middle 8 minutes?
Yeah, I think what I've tried to do over the last 6 months is try to find ways to compete in categories / create categories that's not in the box score. You can compete in body language. You can compete in the tone of your voice. You can compete in how fast you get to a timeout. You can compete when the whistle is blown and it's an opponent's ball out of bounds and you're the first team ready. There's a lot, and in the basketball, that you can compete in that are not in a box score, that are not, it's not data. It's what maybe certain analysts would call soft, like what is that? Which a lot of people would say it's an intangible. And he's my friend. I've worked really hard to have a relationship with him. He worked for Al Davis, the owner of the Los Angeles Raiders. He worked for Bill Walsh. You remember Bill Walsh with the San Francisco 49ers. He worked with Bill Belichick in Cleveland and in New England. He has 2 sons that are now coaches in the NFL. He's an author now. His name is Michael Lombardi. He's a genius. And he's been ultra kind to me for whatever reason. And I've tried to build a relationship with him to learn from him. And that was one thing that, of all of my time with the friends that I have that coach in the NFL, that I had never heard those words, the middle 8. And I guess it is a category to NFL coaches talking about the middle 8 of a football game. Yeah. And I was like, well, I think that might apply to what we do. And I remember when I was a manager for Coach Orr at Navarro, he would always talk about the most important 4 minutes of a game. He would say 5 minutes because in junior college there are no media timeouts. Yeah. The first 5 minutes of the second half are always the most important. And it's just something that I've tried to teach our team over the last, I guess it is 5 games now. And the smart kids have caught on, and the smart kids are kind of chattering about it during the game. And as we were walking into the locker room last night, a couple of the smart kids, they were like, Coach, I think we did good right there in the first 4. And it kind of caught me off guard because my engine had been running for a long time since we got the massacre against Colorado. And I said, what'd you say? And he said, we did good on that first 4. And I go, what are you talking about? He goes, like the first 4 of the middle 8. And I was like, yeah, what was the score? And Gephardt, our strength coach, he keeps up with the ATOs. Yeah. And so we were walking into the locker room, and I said, Gep, what was the score? He goes, it's 7-0. I go, that's good. And then in the second 4, which is the first 4 of the second half, we won 9-5. So, if you only talk about those 8 minutes, we won 16-5. That is for sure better than we've done in any game, not just the games in Myrtle Beach. That was better than we did against Monroe or ACU. If you only talk about those 8 minutes, obviously that's 8 out of 40. That's 20% of the game. Right. And again, like Coach Thornton was, his question was year 4, quote shirt number 4. Airtime is our time. Airtime is I pass the ball to you and we play for the opponent. All of the players at Texas A&M have a responsibility as I'm passing the ball to you to what they're supposed to do. All of the players at Texas A&M, if I pass the ball to you and you shoot it as the ball is in flight, the air time, all 5 players have a responsibility relative to rebounding. I pass the ball to you and you fumble it and it's loose and the ball is in the air as it's bouncing loose. We all have a responsibility to be first to the floor. And so those are not stats in a box score. Those are categories, a category that we can compete in that arguably most teams do not compete in. And so airtime has to be our time on what our responsibilities are on being first to what's next, right? And so when you shoot it at that moment in time, nobody has possession of the ball. It has yet to be determined, is my and your team about to get the offensive rebound, or is Texas A&M about to get the defensive rebound, right? Well, you can say the same thing on the other end. If you and I are playing for the opponent, Texas A&M shoots the ball, it's airtime. Is Texas A&M going to get the offensive rebound, or is our team going to get the defensive rebound? And so when the ball is in flight, we have a responsibility. And our players, our coaches have done a great job in teaching everybody their responsibility. But at the core of it, even if you forget everything, you have to know that when the ball is in the air, it's our first opportunity to get to the next possession. Well, if we gain possession, talking about Texas A&M, well, then we were first to that possession. If we don't gain that possession and mine and your team get the offensive rebound, we failed at being first to that possession. And so now the opponent has another possession, right? And so, like, just simple math, no matter where you coach, you want to shoot more balls than the opponent.
Right.
You want to make more free throws than the opponent. Well, how do you do that? Well, a byproduct of that is you need to be first to the possession more often than the opponent. If you get more offensive rebounds, odds are you're going to get fouled more and you're going to shoot more shots. If you don't turn the ball over, odds are you're going to shoot more balls and have an opportunity to be fouled more / shoot more free throws. And so, like, how can I help facilitate amongst our program, no matter what Twitter says, no matter what the AP voters vote, no matter what the tournament committee is paying attention to, how can we create criteria for this is what we want to pay attention to, and these are the things that we're going to compete in. And in those categories, if we're doing a good job competing in those categories, then those things will be reflected in a box score. So, like yesterday, I think they had 27 turnovers. Okay, well, that probably means we were first to the possession more often. We shot 13 more balls. Very good. And we made 6 more free throws. Very good. And we had the same number of offensive rebounds. Well, we had more possessions, some of which were because they turned it over 27 times and we turned it over 12. Okay, well, there's 15 if there's a line in Vegas that you're betting on that. Yeah, okay, well, we won that bet, right? And so you can play the stat sheet on that, but there are things that lead to these numbers that I think when you can make 18 to 20-year-olds more aware of, that they're like, oh, I never thought of that.
And that is, as he said, airtime is our time. Quote shirt 4?
Year 4.
Year 4.
Quote shirt 4. I happened to say it. Josh could tell you when, but I would say it would have been. Mid-October. I just happened to say it like in other words, if I pass the ball to you, the guy guarding me needs to. Long time ago, we would say jump to the ball. In other words, jump towards where the ball is passed. And now we say run step. So some imaginary person is guarding me, and I pass it to you. Well, the figurative person that's guarding me, he needs to run step towards that pass so that if you try to drive it in that gap between me and you, my figurative defender is in that gap, so to say. And so, I don't know, I got mad and I just said, guys, when the ball is in the air, that's our time. It's not the opponent's time, it's our time. It's our time to do our job. And then I didn't know it was going to turn into a quote shirt, but
it is.
Yeah, it was good.
I like it. When we come back to the Buzz Williams Show, we're going to hear from Jimbo Fisher responding to something Buzz said. It all makes sense. Next segment. You're listening to Aggie Basketball from Learfield. All Hands Craft Cocktails is a new bar-strength canned cocktail made with 6 times distilled vodka and 10% ABV to make sure you never have to sacrifice the quality of your drink. All Hands Craft Cocktails, founded by Aggies and a proud partner of Texas A&M Athletics. Last week on the Jimbo Fisher radio show, presented by Capital Farm Credit, played the portion of Foresight where Coach Buzz Williams talked about working with the handyman growing up and the ladder story. One step on the ladder, can't skip a step. Played that for Jimbo, and here was Jimbo's reaction to that story.
All right, I want to hear it.
Do your job. Be where your feet are. Where your feet are on your focus and concentration on what you do and how you're doing it. And no matter how trivial you think something is, it's not trivial. It all adds up. It's all part of the collection of what you're doing, what makes you, and everything you do. I mean, think about this. Take a vehicle, for instance. from nothing but a loose spark plug wire can stop everything from running. I mean, think about it. You got all these computers, all this thing, and a spark plug wire that comes loose can shut everything down. And that's the point of what we're doing. You got to be where your feet are. Everything matters. Everything you do makes a difference. And sometimes those things slide by, but eventually they catch you. And you can't take anything for granted. And I always, my term for that is be where your feet are. What are my feet doing? And my mind's got to be into what I'm doing at that present time. So whatever it is, it's very important. I wouldn't be there. So do it the best you can do it. It goes back to the advice Bobby Bowden gave me many years ago in coaching. He said this, I always say this, I remind a lot of young coaches too. He said, I never got a job I applied for. He said, every job I got, somebody came and wanted me for it. And I said, well, why was that? He said, because I was doing a real good job at the one I had. And I quit worrying about the next job. You can't control going to the next one. If you do a great job, people will recognize you. And sometimes other people get recognized first. Okay. No, don't worry about that. The other coach, the other player, he got picked to start before you did. Okay, just go what? It will eventually happen if you keep doing what you're supposed to do. That's the best advice I ever got in coaching. The best advice I ever got in coaching.
It applies for everything, right? Not just coaching.
No, just in life, period.
Yeah.
And the classes you're in, the world you're in, the job your parents give you, whoever your employer gives you, whatever. Exactly. It's who you are, what you are, and in your DNA. You are what, dog don't bite when he's a pup, dog don't bite when he's a dog. You are what you are.
That's exactly right.
You can learn. Now, you learn and do it, but those the work ethic, the energy, all those type of things, it's in you. Or it's not.
I could have sworn you said be where your feet are this weekend.
I say it like, yeah, I didn't know Coach said it. I should listen to his radio show. When is his radio show?
Wednesday. His last one is this Wednesday. We're actually moving it to 7 o'clock on Wednesday.
Is it here?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, sir. I know I shouldn't get credit. Maybe Coach Fisher is the first one that said it, but I've said be where your feet are for like years. I say it probably to Mo more than anybody because he has a fast twitch brain and he's trying to get to the next thing. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, everything Coach said, he's spot on. I agree completely with that.
Well, you talked about the skipping steps and doing your job, and I remember with your teams – there'd be a ball out of bounds, and here comes that out-of-bounds team. Now, if that's it's like I asked Jimbo, if all your role is on kickoff return or punt return, make that the best play, and then eventually you get rewarded, right?
Yeah, I used to do that. When I was at Marquette, if it was our ball out of bounds under, we only had 5 guys that knew the plays. And then when it was time to teach the opponents out-of-bounds plays, I'd send them on that end with the 5 guys that would guard the opponents out of bounds. And it was the only time that when the whistle blew, if you were on the bench and you were, quote, on that special team, you just ran past me to the scores table. But the rule was as soon as the next whistle blew, you were out relative to time, score, momentum. And we had a really good point guard. He didn't look like he was a really good point guard, but he was a really good point guard. He played in 11 NCAA tournament games in his college career, and he was never on out-of-bounds defense. And he was like he was my guy. And one day he was mad at me, which was fine and common. And he said, Coach Buzz, why can't I be on the out-of-bounds team? And I'm like, because you can't remember their plays. And he goes, so that means I can't be on the team? Yeah, goofball. They have plays like we have plays. I made a decision. I want you to remember our plays and not give brain space to their plays. So when it's their ball and the clock's not running, you're subbing out because I don't want that in your brain. And he was like, well, that's not fair. And I go, no, I didn't say it was fair. I said you're coming out. And then as soon as the whistle blows, you get to go back in. And I learned a lot from Junior on that. But I also, Jerry Wainwright was an assistant on my staff at that time. And that was the year we went to our it was the second Sweet 16 in a row. And he couldn't believe he had been a head coach forever. He's several years older than I am. And he said, Buzz, I can't believe you're doing this with these good players. And I'm like, That's all right, Coach. I think it's right. And he said, well, they're pissed off. And I go, well, so am I. So am I. So we're all good. They're pissed. I'm pissed. Those 5 guys are in. They know the play. You teach them the play. And if you screw up the play, then I'm pissed at you. And he was like, okay, well, I guess that's the end of that discussion.
That's fantastic.
I remember it like it happened yesterday.
That is absolutely.
I can see Junior getting mad at me that day. Marquette was navy, and they had a little baby blue and some gold. We had really pretty practice uniforms, and he was mad, and he was like, he's from Toronto, and he talks like he's from Toronto. He's like, Coach Buzz. I'm like, what's up? What do you mean, what's up? I can't play. No. Their ball, horn sounds, clock's not running, sub out. And the kid that was sub in for him was the backup point who was from San Antonio, built like a Greek god, a great kid and a great defender, but that was what he did best. And when he subbed in and Junior subbed out, like he knew, I'm playing right now until the official blows the whistle. So he might play down back. He might play down back. It just depended.
Yeah.
But as soon as the whistle blew, he knew he was coming out and Junior was going back in. And it created like this pride of, I'm on special teams, kickoff coverage.
Yeah.
And they're not getting positive yards.
Right.
And it was great.
That's exactly right.
It was great.
That's exactly right. Again, I think you're ahead of your time. But, we have questions when we return to the Buzz Williams Show here at Rudy. Stay with us. This is Aggie basketball from Learfield. Basketball and barbecue lovers know the perfect brisket needs the right wood. Rudy smokes all their meats using their delicious signature rubs in 100% oak-fired pits. Get your real Texas barbecue fix today at Rudy's or on the web at rudys.com. Checking in online, Joe Schubert says, excited to see y'all in Chicago on Friday. Happy early Thanksgiving from the Schubert family. And Al says, is asking, which game are you hosting the Buzz's Bunch children? That's Al. Wants to know, when you hosting the Buzz's Bunch? Which game? Do you have that down? Because I know.
Yeah.
If not, we'll let him know once we get that.
We play December the 3rd against – I only memorize it when the month happens.
Okay.
So December the 3rd on a Saturday we play in Fort Worth.
Yep.
I think the next Saturday after finals week we play at Memphis. I think towards the end of the month we play Northwestern State, who won at TCU last week, who won at Illinois State last week. That was bad scheduling on Buzz's part. I would say Northwestern State is one, and Wofford may be the other one. I'm not sure. Do you know what it is, Josh?
Okay. Wofford on the 20th.
On the 20th.
Prairie View on the 30th.
Yeah, that's probably smart on their part.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Steve wants to know, if a player wants to come to A&M, will he call you first before entering the portal? We're all trying to figure out these transfer rules, Buzz. I'm not lying to you. It's like,
yeah, there's really no rules. I know I'm not supposed to say that, but there's not really much of an NCAA. No. There was an NCAA who suspended me for 2 games for what happened during COVID over a 10-day period that was leaked out, that I did a lot of other things that literally I had no awareness of. But I took the bullet on that, and that's fine. And then I've seen, like, cheating at the highest level relative to shoe companies and cash exchanges, and guys are sitting out less than I did. So I probably have a poor attitude towards all of that. The transfer portal, to answer your question, no, they wouldn't call me.
Okay.
They would pretend as if it wasn't happening. But, yeah, word on the street will circulate.
Gotcha.
Just like you would anticipate that it would. But there would be no official communication from our staff to that particular kid until they were in the portal.
Gotcha. Ian's question will be next. I'm getting to it. 2 weeks in, I'm getting to it. Ian's question's next. Final segment, Buzz Williams Show, and we return to Rudy's. This is Aggie basketball from Learfield. This is the final segment of tonight's edition, the Buzz Williams Show from Rudy's 504 Harvey Road here in College Station. We are back with you on next Monday, and it's a Black Friday noon game at DePaul. That's what's next for the Aggies. Get that in a little bit. I've been holding Ian's question. How has the role of academics in the recruiting process changed over time?
Yeah, I can't answer that, Ian, based on how everybody else does it. I think a lot of it has to do with I grew up in a family where both of my parents were educators, and so regardless of how the new era of college athletics is going, specific to academics, I still hold our guys accountable. I have an academic meeting tomorrow at noon to get an update on every class of every player. I do that once a week. I'm too involved as a head coach with academics. It means a lot to me. In the 3 years I've been here, our APR score is among the highest in the country. It matters. I don't know that it necessarily matters to everyone while it's happening because they don't understand the importance of a diploma. But I do think specifically to Texas A&M, I do think a degree from Texas A&M changes your life, particularly when your basketball career is over, whenever that is. And so Devin Johnson has been the, quote, head coach of academics for me in the 12 years he's been with me. Luke Hillen is the head coach in charge of time for our team. And so every time that we have an academic meeting, Macy, we just hired as our academic coordinator. She was voted by her peers as the up-and-coming star in Division I athletics last year, regardless of sport. We interviewed 5 different people. I was involved. Joe Fields is in charge of that within our department. Joe used to be that for football. I think Joe is a future AD.
He's a star, man.
I think Macy is a star. Macy was with us in Myrtle Beach. We had study hall every day that we were gone. We probably do more than we should, but that's because I think it's very important whether the kids understand it at that time or not. Just because I think a diploma changes your life. And stereotypically speaking, there is a large percentage of our players who come from situations where a college education would be the first to have ever happened in their family. And I think that's really cool. And so Macy started a little over a month ago. We were behind early in the fall semester until we hired Macy. That was on purpose. I don't want to hire someone until I believe that they're right for our players and right for the position. And I'm encouraged by what she is and what she will become. We've made some steps in the right direction. We still have a couple of guys that are fighting from behind going into Thanksgiving with 3 weeks left to go in the semester, but I think we'll end up being okay.
Speaking of Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Yeah, I am thankful. I'm thankful for my health. I'm thankful for breath, thankful for life, thankful for my wife, and who is my best friend, thankful for her sacrifices to raise our children. We have 4 really good human beings that are also healthy and progressing in the right way. Thankful to be the coach at Texas A&M. Incredibly thankful for the experience and the character of our staff and what they do on a daily basis. I've been blessed way more than I deserve. And Thanksgiving, we will work a full day. It won't even seem like Thanksgiving. We'll have Thanksgiving dinner Wednesday night as a staff and a family and a team after we finish work. And then it'll be a full day of work on Thursday before we leave and travel to DePaul. So it won't feel like Thanksgiving, but I think if you have your heart in the right place, you probably should celebrate Thanksgiving or the spirit of it every day. And then we'll play, like I was telling Coach Thornton, Corey said I should give you more grace because we went 1-2 and you weren't there Are you going to DePaul?
Yes, I'm with you the rest of the way.
Okay, well, so she was saying that I should be more nice because I was a little too over the top, as you would expect she would say, in regards to you not being present. I thought it was funny. I thought it was good radio.
I agree with both of those.
She said,
it was funny and it was good radio.
That was enough. You know, you over talk. It's too much. You should be nicer. So we're glad that you're going. That means we will win. Andrew and Thornton are on the radio.
We're back, baby.
Yeah.
We're back.
Well, after Myrtle Beach, I'm glad you're back too.
Yeah.
And maybe I can tell everybody. I can tell Ross the reason we lost was Monaco wasn't there.
I'll take the bullets for you, Coach.
And then he'll say, well, maybe we should hire Monaco as the coach.
Ooh.
You can be the radio guy.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, maybe we should make that swap.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you guys for coming.
He is Buzz Williams. We thank you all for being here at Rudy's this evening. Kevin Menchow is the engineer here at Rudy's. Bobby Blackburn has been the producer of the Buzz Williams Show. We will join you on Friday, 11:30 a.m., 12 is the tip. Aggies, DePaul. Till then, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Thanks and gig 'em. This is Aggie Basketball from Learfield.